Well, it's here. Autumn has come in with a roar. We had our first frost last night, and now it's time to pick these beans. Hi, I'm Robin. Welcome to Robin's Container Garden. Boy, am I glad that I showed you guys the bean arch last week before the frost hit. Look, everything is dying. So it's time to pick these beans. And I thought while I was picking the beans that I would talk to you a little bit about, well, beans. This is the third year that I have grown Borlottis beans, and we really like them. Last year I tried broad beans because everybody and their brother was growing broad beans last year, and we tried them, and they grew really well, and the flowers, whoa, beautiful flowers, gorgeous flowers, but I didn't like the flavor that much. And it's, you know, the thing is that when you're doing your own garden, you can grow whatever you want to grow, or whatever you can grow. And although I could grow broad beans, and I did grow broad beans, I tried them, didn't like them, so I'm not going to use the space up that I can use to grow something else. So the first year that I tried Borlottis beans in my garden here, it was a kind of an experiment, kind of like I did with the kidney beans this year. And what I did is I grew a couple of them up front in the onion bed, which have the dahlias in it now, and I grew a couple in a container in the back garden. They both did okay, but the one that was in the ground actually performed better. It gave us more beans. So I thought, well, I'll grow them in the ground last year, and I did. I grew them in the onion bed last year along with the broad beans, and they did really well. Now I put this arch up. I'm sorry if you can't see my face. I'm not really doing this for facial value here. I put the arch up for pumpkins. We don't get enough sun to really sustain pumpkins, and I had a little teeny tiny pumpkin. I'll show you a picture of it. He was adorable, but that was the only one that I got this year. So I thought I'm not even gonna bother again next year. I'm gonna buy pumpkins. If I want a pumpkin, I'll just buy one from the supermarket or get one from a farm shop. We decided that we really liked the Borlottis beans. We like the flavor. We like the fact that you can eat them as haricot, which is not raw but not dried, and they're great to have as like the dried seeds that you can either eat or you can save as seeds. In fact, all of these here and the ones behind me, everything that I planted this year was from last year's seeds. So I was really happy about that. Now, one of the things that I'm going to try next year is I'm going to grow them again here, but I'm going to work on the soil here and make sure that it's really good and worked up and nutritious. But I'm also going to grow them in a container next year, but I'm not going to put it in a small container. I have a project that I'm going to put together for next year that's going to go in the onion bed, and it's going to be some taller raised beds, modular kind of raised beds, and still a container technically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new arch, another one, up in between those two beds, and I'm going to grow beans on either side to go up the arch. So hopefully that will work out really well. Stay tuned to find out. If you like to keep up with what's going on in the container garden, don't forget to subscribe and click like. That really helps the channel. And if you subscribe, put the little bell on, and that will also help let YouTube know that you want notifications for every new video that I put out. During the winter, I'm not going to put out videos every week. I've actually had some time on my hands and I've made a couple of videos recently, so I wanted to get those out there because I didn't want you guys to think that I fell into some kind of oblivion. So I will put out videos as often as I can, but they're not going to be as often as I have done in the past. So I'm going to keep picking these beans and I'll come back to you in a few minutes. Since my channel is only small, I thought I'd create a link so you can buy me a cup of tea. And the link for that is below. I'm also going to put it in the description. So if you want to buy me a cup of tea on the website called Buy Me a Coffee, because I don't drink coffee, I thought I could put that there, and if you guys wanted to support my channel and support my content, that you could go and buy me a cup of tea. And if you do that, I would really appreciate it. And if you do support my channel, I will be happy to give you a mention in future videos. Thanks! Not bad, eh? I'll find out how many plants that I put into the ground, because I actually didn't grow these in advance. I actually just put the seeds in the ground. And there's no doubt that I will go back and find. I can actually see one there. When we take the plants down and put them in the compost bin, I think we'll probably find a few more that we missed. Like ones like this, completely flat, there's no bean in there. Probably didn't get pollinated. So they'll be okay, but I can see a fat one down there at the bottom on the floor. And there's another one right here. Oh, I'll tell you what. Anyway, I'll pick them up in a minute. Borlotti beans are so versatile. You can put them in soups, you can eat them just like they are. You can store them, you can freeze them and store them in the freezer. I mean, there's just so many different options to use them, and they're very nutritious. And I will grow them every year as long as I can. And this is probably going to be the biggest haul I've ever had of these beans. So next year I'll be growing kidney beans, and I'll be growing Borlotti beans, probably no other beans. I think this will be enough for me. We'll grow some more on this arch, and I'll grow some over in the onion bed on the other arch. The kidney beans are dwarf ones, so they don't need anything to climb on. Borlotti beans, I'm pretty sure that they have a dwarf version of Borlotti beans, so you don't have anything for them to climb on. I'm pretty sure you can get a dwarf version as well. They're one of my favorite beans, and I would definitely recommend that you try them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to shell these. I'll put the weight down here at the bottom, and if I can find the information, I'll put the comparison weight from what I harvested last year. So you can get to these in the dried form, in seed form, at garden centers. You can order them online. They're all over the place. I've seen them just about everywhere. None of these have dried. Last year I had plenty dry on the vine, but the vines are going, so I wanted to go ahead and get these off, and I'll process them and get some of them in the freezer. I will be growing next year's Borlotti beans on what I saved from the seeds from last year, and they'll be good for at least another 2 or 3 years. So that's the bean haul, and like I said, I absolutely recommend it. So now is time for the big question. Have you ever grown Borlotti beans? If you have, what did you think of them? Did you like them? And also, if you didn't grow Borlotti beans, what beans did you grow this year, if you grew any at all? Are you a broad bean fan? I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not a broad bean fan, but I know a lot of people out there are. So grow those broad beans. And also, another question for you, have you grown peas in your garden? I tried to grow peas, and the slugs and the birds just have them. So I haven't figured out a good way to grow them yet, but I'm going to keep trying until I do, because I've got some really cool purple whole pea seeds that I want to try next year. So watch this space. I think the season's over. We still have leeks to harvest. They'll be okay in these frosts that we've been having. And I'll still have some potatoes left to bring in, and they'll be okay too for a while because they're main crop potatoes. They're used to being a little bit cold. We'll probably get them harvested over the weekend. And remember, you don't have to grow all the things or even all the beans. Just grow something. Take care. Bye, y'all. Now, I gotta figure out how to get this in the house. Ah! I think a second trip is in order.